You have probably heard the hype, Mike Mentzer's heavy duty training. One set to failure per muscle group, once per week, and you will experience results like you never imagined. But the shocking truth is that Mike Mentzer did not train like that when he built his phenomenal physique. In fact, system that he promoted later in life, very low in volume, high intensity, is very different than training method that he used during his prime. In this video, I will break it all down. Number one, I will talk about the essence of heavy duty as it was marketed. Number two, how Mike Mentzer really trained in his best competitive days. Number three, how he dramatically changed his approach in his later years. And number four, I will compare heavy duty training method with Arnold's and Nubret's training method. And by the end, you will know exactly why the heavy duty training system may not be the best system for you if you really want to build big muscles and burn body fat and end up with some fantastic physique. So let me tell you about my own experience. In the previous video, I mentioned my shock when I went to Paris and I discovered something completely different. I was in the beginning, in my first 2 years of training, I was devoted disciple of Mike Mentzer and his heavy duty training method. I was getting bigger, stronger, but I was far away from looking like a bodybuilder. I was just a lump, I was chunky, I was fat, and a lot of people think that this is because my diet was wrong, but this is not true. The truth. A lot of other people that I met who also did heavy-duty training method ended up looking like me. In fact, even Mike Mentzer himself, when he started reducing the volume and increasing intensity in his later competitive days, he never actually repeated his peak condition in 1978 and also 1979. But I will talk about that in more detail in a few minutes. Now, there is a problem with heavy-duty training method and Mike Mentzer himself. First of all, nobody has ever seen any video of Mike's real workout. Nobody has seen Mike Mentzer in public training. Like, for example, Arnold was training in Gold's gym, Serge Nubret was training in his gym. People were around, everybody could have seen him. The same applies to Franco Colombo, to Sergio Oliva, the same applies to Lee Haney later on, and Dorian Yates, and Ronnie Coleman, and Jay Cutler, and everybody else that you know, all these top names in bodybuilding, people could have seen them training. But Mike Mentzer, no. He was training with his brother, first thing in the morning, very early in the morning, in the gym, in the locked gym, when nobody was around. Nobody knows what they were training, what that training system was. But fortunately or unfortunately, depending in which camp you belong, there are some eyewitnesses, very reputable eyewitnesses, who actually saw Mike Mentzer training, and I just want to tell you what they have said. So there are a few people actually who saw Mike Mentzer training. One of them was Boyer Coe, who was a bodybuilder, a professional bodybuilder. He competed with Mike Mentzer, and Boyer Coe said that actually Mike Mentzer didn't train exactly as he was promoting later on, with very low volume and super high intensity as we learned from his books, but that he actually trained with much higher volume and more or less trained like everybody else. So Boyer Coe said that he was doing 3 to 5 working sets per exercise, and 4 to 5 exercises per muscle group. So this is quite substantial volume. Not necessarily the same as Serge Nubret or Arnold, but it's still high volume. And in his word, Mike trained very hard, but he didn't do just one set. He did multiple sets, just like the rest of us. So this is what Boyer Coe said. Now, John Little, who was actually Mentzer's very close friend and biographer, also said about Mike Mentzer that he actually didn't train as in his later consolidation program during his competitive years. Now, Casey Viator, who was also known to do high intensity, low volume, actually said that that Mike Mentzer didn't train exactly as he was talking about in his heavy duty protocols, but that he trained in much higher number of sets per each muscle group. Now also Dorian Yates met Mike Mentzer and took some advice from him, but he didn't follow his principles. And Dorian Yates, in his own words, said that Mike's ideas were useful, but I modified them. He went too far with low volume and in frequency. There were other regulars in Gold's Gym who saw Mike Mentzer training, and they all said the same thing, like Ed Corney, for example, and Tom Platz. And they commented that Mike trained very hard, but not in the ultra-abbreviated way that he later promoted. So what is this telling us? Basically, it is telling us that Mike Mentzer, I believe, after his failure to win Olympia in 1980, he probably realized that there is not much money to be made for him in the professional bodybuilding. And as a brilliant mind that he was, he actually realized that maybe he should be doing something else. So he wanted to promote a training method which would be more applicable to people who don't have time to go to the gym. Now, these people who are office people, bankers, managers, and others, they couldn't spend 2-3 hours training in the gym every day. So for them, all these other training principles like Arnold's or Serge Nubret or other training methods that Vader promoted in his days were not applicable. So they were not really interested in doing something like that. And Mike Mentzer came to an idea that basically if I create a system which will promise them short workouts, maybe 2-3 times per week, in later stages only once per week, or maybe once in 10 days, the whole body workout, which will last like 30-40 minutes, that would be more appealing to people. And then he developed his heavy-duty training system and really sold a lot of books, because male business from that was then popular. They didn't have internet, they didn't have YouTube, they didn't have Instagram and Facebook and similar social media devices that obviously people can use in order to promote and sell. But the male business was very big. Arnold made lots of money selling his books as well. But Mike Mentzer was very popular, and he developed this system. Not only people who didn't have time, but also people who didn't want to spend 2-3 hours every day in the gym. They found their solace in training heavy duty, 2-3 times per week, maybe every other day, on a later promotion once a week or once in 10 days. So there is a lot of people that actually follow this method. I don't know how successful that is, but I've never seen anybody building big muscles and achieving anything substantial, competing in bodybuilding by simply using exactly heavy-duty training method as Mike Mentzer advocated. Now, let me quickly remind you about Mike Mentzer's career and the timeline of his training evolution timeline. So in his early career, pre-heavy duty, Mike used to, this is between 1975 and 78, he used to train 5 to 6 days per week, and he would do 3 to 5 sets per exercise, and 4 to 6 exercises per body part. So we are talking there anywhere from 20 maybe to 30 sets per muscle group. He would train each muscle group twice per week. So we're talking about extreme volume. Let's say if it's 30 sets, there will be 60 sets for chest or legs or back. So he was training basically like everybody else. And he was very much influenced by Arnold's method and also the Gold's Gym crew. So what happened while he was doing this type of training? Well, in 1978, IFBB Mr. Universe heavyweight class, Mike Mentzer he won with a perfect score of 300. So nobody ever in bodybuilding repeated that. So he was in an amazing shape. He had the size, he had the shape, he was tight, he was ripped. And this was due to his training method that he applied from 1975 to 78. So in 78, he won again with a perfect score. So this is just the proof that he was doing obviously something right. Now, After that, Mike Mentzer continued with that system and repeated extremely successful attempt in 1979 when he lost from Frank Zane. But by many people, this was the best shape that Mike Mentzer ever achieved. He was still doing similar to that training system as before, training each muscle with 20 to 30 sets, but he has decreased the frequency. And he appeared in 1978 in a fantastic shape. He would do 4 to 6 exercises per muscle group, but now 2 to 3 working sets. So he dropped the sets. So he was doing a bit less. And also he was doing a 4-day split in 4 to 5 days a week. Intensity was to failure, using force reps, negatives, and rest pose. Now, in 1980, Mentzer appeared on the Mr. Olympia, and he ended up 5th. He wasn't in great shape, he wasn't conditioned, and he even admitted himself that he was not very good. The reason for that is that he changed his training method, he reduced the volume even further down, that obviously showed in his conditioning. Also, there was some shoulder injury apparently, but Mike Mentzer never repeated his 1978 and 79 package that he delivered on the stage. Now, the volume was much lower than in 1979. He did 1 or 2 working sets per exercise, so much lower, and also he did 2 to 3 sets per major group. So basically, he reduced the volume dramatically. He was doing a 4-day split, but with a longer rest between sessions if needed. Regarding intensity, it was always absolute failure, force reps, negatives, rest pose, all these different techniques. So he was testing his new system, but clearly that system didn't work. So he came heavier, he was bloated, he wasn't conditioned, he wasn't shredded, and he actually admitted himself that he wasn't as good as before. Clearly, the reduction in volume and less precise preparation possibly were the reasons for that. Now, in the post-competition heavy duty, which is from 1983 to 1989, Mentzer started training clients, and he even further simplified his training method. So he started promoting quite a different method than before. The volume was cut down to 1 to 2 sets per exercise. And exercises will be 2 to 3 per muscle group. Every muscle will be trained once in 7 days. So less frequency, less volume than before again. And from 1993 till 2001, in his final version of heavy-duty training method, Mike Mentzer actually promoted something very drastic, which is only 1 to 2 working sets per muscle group, and only 1 to 2 exercises per body part. So entire body will be trained every 7 to 10 days. So all you need to do, according to this latest version of heavy duty, is 1 training session, full body, 2 to 3 exercises per muscle group, only 1 to 2 sets per body part, per exercise. So I think I have explained to you the evolution of his heavy-duty training method, and I have managed to clarify that this method, actually, that he promoted later on, the one that everybody knows, low volume, low frequency, etc., high intensity, 1-2 sets per exercise, it never worked. It actually never worked for him. I doubt that that method ever worked for any of his clients. The reason why I'm saying this is that I have never seen before and after picture of any of his clients. Also, there are many others, very big, fitness gurus and experts on internet. You can see them every day. But I hardly see any before and after picture of their clients. They would put them if they had, but they didn't. They don't have them. So Mike Mentzer never had anything like that. This is why we never saw a single client that he changed. I would like to mention that if you go to my website, you can see a high number of people that I have changed from really bad shape into an unbelievable condition. Men, women, recreational, natural, professional, competitive bodybuilders, everybody else. So also you can see those people giving live comments of training with me and testimonials. Obviously, you can see them in the gym. If you come to Muscle Works in London, you can see my clients. They're real people. They are not fake. I never had to do that. But Mike Mentzer never showed anything like that. Yes, he worked with people like Aaron Baker and Dorian Yates, but these people were already finished products. They were already there. But I never saw anybody take somebody like from an average shape and make them with a six-pack or even compete on the stage. That never happened. So this is what I can say about heavy-duty training method, and Mike's aspiration to promote this method was purely commercial. It was purely to make living out of heavy-duty training system, and he did well. He sold lots of books. He influenced a lot of people. How much they benefited from that, I don't know. They know them themselves. But this is what I have to say about this training method. Now, I was also a disciple of heavy duty, but fortunately, when I went to Paris in 1983, I met Serge Nubret, and then everything changed. Complete change of attitude. The whole world changed for me. I started training with higher volume, and I started changing. And as you've seen in the previous video, my changes were dramatic. I improved my shape. I increased in muscle mass. I even started competing. And I had a great competitive career, competing 46 times and winning 17 shows. And my training was always high volume training, relatively high reps, and training 5 to 6 times per week. Now let me just quickly compare Mike Mentzer's heavy-duty training system to Arnold's high-volume training system. So Arnold trained much more differently. Arnold would do 5 to 6 exercises per muscle group, in average 5 sets for each exercise, usually hitting 20-25 sets per muscle group, per big muscle group, sometimes even 30. And for smaller muscle groups, he would do anywhere from 15 to 20 sets. Arnold used to train in his preparation period. He would train every other day, muscle every twice per week. And clearly this system allowed Arnold to develop the body that he developed, and obviously win so many titles, including Mr. Olympia. So then there is another example, as I spoke more in detail in the previous video, and that's Serge Nubret high volume workout. Nubret was doing even more sets than Arnold. He was doing up to 40 sets. I witnessed that myself. And obviously results were immense. Not just Serge Nubret, but many other people who were around him in the gym. They applied the same method and they benefited greatly. None of them had to do any cardio because this training is obviously high in volume. And reps that Nubret was advising were all from 12 to 20. So now the reason why this high volume training method worked actually is not just to generate big muscle size, but also to produce lean bodies. This was my issue in the beginning when I just started heavy duty and followed this religiously. A lot of people said, "Oh, you were not in shape because you were not following the good diet." But wait a little bit. Let's see what training, high intensity, low volume training does. First of all, it doesn't speed up your metabolism as the high volume, let's say 25, 30 sets per session can do. Metabolism is much slower when you train every other day or even less frequently than if you train almost every day. Number two, high volume training system stimulates higher production of growth hormone, and growth hormone is directly responsible for burning body fat. if you're natural, obviously, if you're not taking any growth hormone. Arnold, Serge Nubret and the guys in those days, they didn't. So they had to rely on the natural production, higher production of growth hormone in order to burn body fat. And this is exactly what happened. This is what happened to Mike Mentzer as well, while he was training high volume training system in his peak days. But when he slowed down, when he did less frequency and shorter workouts, clearly that didn't happen. So metabolism slows down and also production of growth hormone goes a little bit down. So these two factors are directly related to the type of training that you will apply. Now, when it comes to the number of sets, I would just like to mention to you that recently, even so-called scientific research, which I don't follow blindly, but I like to hear that, it suggests that for the beginners, anywhere up to 10, 12 sets per week per muscle group can be beneficial. But if you are intermediate, that is not going to be the case. So you will need to up those sets to 15, even to 20. So if you are more advanced bodybuilder, nobody did any scientific research on them, but now they're popping out more often. You will need to be from 20 to 30 sets per muscle group. And this is where actually the real optimization of muscle growth happens in advanced bodybuilders. So again, the old school has proven to be right. They didn't know that then scientifically, but they experimented and they found out that it's not the same to do 10 sets per muscle group per week or maybe to do 40 sets per muscle group per week. So clearly people who did higher number of sets ended up being bigger, in much better shape, and ripped before the show. So now the interesting part is that even up to 40 sets now, you can look at the research, is beneficial for some who are more advanced. So even Nubret, who was super advanced, benefited from that type of training, which was in those days unimaginable. People are saying, oh, this is not possible. Yeah, it was possible. I didn't believe it until I went and seen it myself. So one more thing, a lot of people come back to me and they say, oh, but you know, I'm a natural bodybuilder. There's no way I'm going to do 40 sets. I never did. I tried actually a few times, but I hardly did ever 40 sets. My best, my highest number of sets would be, let's say, 30. Most of the time I was between 20 and 25 sets. That was me. Arnold also responded well to that number and many others. Probably majority, like Jay Cutler, for example, or Lee Haney, they were all in that region around 20, 25, up to 30 sets per big muscle groups. And even if you're natural, you don't have to just copy and paste Serge Nubret training system or Arnold Schwarzenegger training system or my training system. It just doesn't work like that. But you need to take the principle. So if you're doing 10 sets and you are stagnating or you're not building bigger muscles, maybe you should try to up that to 15 or maybe 20 sets. Give it a go. Try. I mean, nothing will happen easy. You are not going to change anything if you just do the same thing over and over and over again. And I will be talking about that in the video, which should be coming after this one on Saturday, I believe. And I will talk about breaking the plateaus and why you are stagnating and what you possibly can do in order to keep progressing. Because everybody, including myself, at some point, the training just stops delivering results that you expect. So there are things that you need to change. So I hope that you got the message from this video in which I have explained to you why heavy-duty training system is not the best one that can offer you results that you are expecting. And you should apply maybe high number of sets, possibly higher number of reps as well, and just find that perfect range where you will benefit. So it doesn't have to be the same as what Nubret did or Arnold did, but the idea is to hit that sweet spot which will benefit you. So let me just remind you once again that I have published 9 books, and for those ones who like to expand their knowledge, deepen their horizons, and learn much more in detail everything about muscle growth, fat loss, nutrition, you're more than welcome. Visit my website, nashfreetraining.com, or simply just click on the link in the comments and you will have the access to my ebooks. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel if you didn't. Also like the video, share the video, and send me your comments. As you know, I hope I try to answer as many comments as possible. So sorry if I don't answer all of them, because there are quite few coming. But in any case, I will see you in the next video, and until then, I wish you all the best.